Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and today we're going to be bringing you something a little bit new. So we decided we weren't going to do a State of the Realm this week. Too many other things going on, too much anticipation of what's coming up. But we know a lot of people are stuck inside. We know a lot of people are just looking for any entertainment they can get. So we decided to put on a show about a topic we did on State of the Realm ages ago, our other podcast. And we're just going to be talking about games today. It's a pilot episode. There's a lot of things that we don't have. Intro music, proper anything. We're going to throw this out there so those of you who are stuck inside have something to listen to, something to enjoy. Today, we're going to be talking about Animal Crossing and its domination over what feels like all social media platforms right now. We're going to be talking about our releases this week, Persona 5 Royal, as well as Slide made a face on that one. Persona 5 Royal and RE3 Remake. Now make another face for that one and show the people when we get to that. And we're also going to be talking about looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake next week, as well as some controversies around some of its early releases, courtesy of that topic to one of our other guests. But I'm going to be your host, Michael, Mr. Happy Power. Of course, joining me is Sly, a.k.a. Sly the Fox, a.k.a. the Velvet Man Room himself, Velvet Room Man himself. There we go. If he could be Igor, he would be. A.k.a. Sly, how you doing, Sly?
Yes, welcome.
Don't do that. I give up. Nope, we're moving on. Nope. Doesn't work. Not Igor.
What, you want the deep Igor?
Welcome. Give me the P5 one. Welcome. Give me that one.
Welcome to my velvet room.
There you go. Appreciate that. And patiently waiting for him to be introduced as well, we decided to bring on a guest who we've had on a million State of the Realms, and he figured, you know what? I may not have played these things, but I will come well prepared to talk about them. We have Ethys.
Hell yeah! What's up, guys? How we doing? Can I just backpedal for a moment? You called Sly the Velvet Man Room?
The Velvet Man
and
Room.
I feel like there's something there. I feel like there's something in that.
Yeah, man.
No, I just want to imagine like a room that contains a man made of velvet.
I
mean, I do have my velvet blazer.
He does. If you haven't seen his velvet blazer.
I think that's quite compelling. There's something there. I'm not quite sure what it is, but there's definitely something to like hang up there.
I'm gonna sure. Anyway, this conversation.
Hey, what's up? How are y'all doing, guys?
We're doing good.
Pretty good, babe.
Just a pilot episode of something completely random with three people who have done another podcast for another game a few times. The game we sometimes talk about.
Yeah, I like it that for your pilot episode you made sure that if you crash and burn, you're not going down alone.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's every plane has a passenger,
nice.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
We all fall together.
Every plane has passengers. So as we said, we once did a State of the Realm podcast on games we were playing other than Final Fantasy 14, and we decided we would never do that again. So instead, we'll just do a different show with a different name and do that show, but with a little bit more attention to everything instead of us just going, so not 14, huh?
Yeah.
This will be available in video format. It will be available in audio format. We're just going to upload it in place of State of the Realm, so everyone who gets their normal dose of our weekly podcast will still get it. And it still has to start the same. We got to thank our sponsors at the start of the show. Steel Series, if they sponsor State of the Realm, they sponsor this. Like, it's just
by extension.
It's just by extension. That's just how it's going to work. I already spoke with them about it. I told them I'd be doing that. But forget Steel Series, 12% discount code now. I know a lot of people aren't buying anything right now, but if you do decide to buy something, 12% discount code. But why buy something when you could win it? We have monthly giveaways for State of the Realm as our sponsor. And we actually had a winner whose funny thing, I have all of their background information, but they said they wanted to announce the winning name as a random person. That's what their winning name is, a random person. However, their Twitch name, for anyone wondering, Kuromotso. That's what the actual Twitch name is. They're the winner of
the randos winning.
Congratulations,
random person. There you go. Yes. So thank you, Kuromotso, for entering, and congratulations on winning. You'll be getting an email for your to choose your prize. So. Congratulations, and we will add another giveaway under the description of this one. It'll also be under the next couple of State of the Realm, so they'll just have that monthly giveaway rolling, regardless of which show we decide to put on over the months as we're stuck inside. Sound good? Sound good. All right. And, of course, thank you to our patrons, but we will be giving them a longer thank you later. Their names are going to be scrolling in the top right the entire time. All right, gentlemen. So, when I do State of the Realm, I tend to just kind of roll with the same thing the whole time, and we don't really put in a whole lot of, effort to stuff. But because I had a little bit of time, we're going to be bringing back the current topic thing. In the top. That way they know what we're talking about at any given time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, what's this? Notes? Actual outline and everything?
Productions? No outline.
Yeah, production value. Damn.
No, there's no outline.
I got notes for days.
He's got notes, but we're good with that. So we have some pretty hot button topics to hit on today, but I actually want to start with something that goes back a couple of weeks here. As the first show, something is still all over social media for weeks now. It's been probably the most prominent gaming topic leading up to what we'll be talking about that's coming next week, or for some of you already. And that's Animal Crossing. What a weird game topic to start with, in my opinion.
Is it really?
It's not
weird?
something I thought I'd be talking about in a podcast format. Let me just put it that way.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a really, really great topic for a podcast format. When you first told me about the topic for the week, you described it as you want to talk about why Animal Crossing was like dominating in social media, particularly over Doom Eternal, in like such a enormous, like overwhelming, oversaturated way. And I found that super compelling. And my first thought was like, maybe there's a selection bias here. Maybe Animal Crossing isn't dominating social media. Maybe it's just like the weird sort of Venn diagram of Final Fantasy XIV players and Animal Crossing players that we're seeing. So I did like a little bit of digging to see whether this was actually the case. I thought that like maybe sale units would be a good place to start talking about these two games leading into Animal Crossing. Should we do that?
If you have the data, I'm not. Sly loves data too. So,
yeah, I got some data for you. Okay, so as we know, Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, they both released on the same weekend, March 20th. Doom's sales in the opening week, 700,000 units on Steam, which is excellent.
Yes.
And the estimates are at about half that number between Xbox One and PS4. I would say that that's probably due to coronavirus influencing physical sales, most of the sales being digital.
Yeah.
So it's double the opening week of Doom 2016. It's the fastest selling game of the franchise, and apparently the best selling Steam title of 2020 so far. That's pretty good. So that number, 700,000 on Steam opening week, and that's global.
And then about half that for the other one. So let's say 1 million.
Yeah.
Let's just round it
Yeah,
out.
let's say a million. Okay. Animal Crossing New Hope.
New Horizons. New Hope is Star Wars.
New Hope. That'll be the next one. Sorry, Animal Crossing New Horizons. This is not the first week. This is just the first 3 days. This is not global sales. This is sales in Japan. 1.88 million units. So just shy of 2 million units in Japan alone in the first 3 days, beating the previous 3-day record of Pokemon Sword and Shield by more than 500,000 units to become the fastest selling Switch game in Japan to date. And this is only physical copies. This is not digital downloads. This is only physical.
Wait. This has to be what this... No.
This is Famitsu. They collect data. They do not collect data on digital downloads. This is physical units only. Sold 1.88 million in Japan alone, not counting digital downloads. So it's going to be like way above that. So that's about double Doom's first week global sales in Japan alone in just 3 days.
I will say, and then Chad already brought this up, physical sales does include like stores buying units to sell. Usually, It usually means like 1.88 shipped is the term that I think is more appropriate.
Famitsu put it as sales, not as like as like. Yeah, I mean Famitsu obviously they got like some bias there, but they're alleging that this is units sold. Units bought by consumers, not just units shipped. 1.88
I think it's still safe to say that it's doing pretty good.
Yeah, either way we look at it, yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's not just hearsay. Like those of us that are seeing it all over Twitter, it's not just us. And like we'll come to the Twitter stats in a moment, but like
Damn, you are loaded with stats.
First thing I would like to explore is why is it sold so many units in Japan?
Well, the thing is, the physical unit thing surprises me that it specifically tracks that, because digital is king nowadays.
Yes.
And especially with everything that's going on, and we will kind of factor that in to a bit of the conversation after we've gone over some of these stats. But it's weird to me to track physical, of all things, right now.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's wrong.
Well, you would think, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like you would think right now that physical sales are way, way down. That's basically what we attribute to the lesser sales on PS4 and Xbox of Doom.
Yeah.
To be to that, right, with everything that's going on at the moment. So, I mean, I think, okay, I had a look at some Japanese news outlets, and as of March 20th, so the release of both these games, there was no mandatory lockdown in Japan. There was no compulsory closure of schools or businesses or anything like that. Apparently, like in the past week, that started to become like a little bit more prevalent. There's still no mandatory shutdown or quarantine or anything like that, but they're actually, starting to like encourage people to stay home. But it seems that like during this period at the moment, it was going to be the case that Japan would have much higher physical unit sales than North America or Europe or, pretty much anywhere else. So that's kind of interesting. But still, right? Still.
Sly?
One thing we really haven't considered. We're comparing Doom and Animal Crossing.
Right.
And at the same time, we're comparing a North American sales to those in just strictly Japan.
Well, we're comparing global sales to
global sales.
Yeah. Okay. This is global sales compared to just in Japan.
Well, and that really says something, because really, for Animal Crossing alone to like beat out Doom globally in just their home country, that says something. That says a lot, actually. One thing you have to realize is the culture. Let's just say the culture in Japan. In terms of gaming, FPSs really don't succeed there, and we over history we have the numbers to back it up. So, like, if you're just looking at Japanese sales for Doom Eternal, like even online, they would definitely pale in comparison to something that like Animal Crossing that has built over had around a decade or so to build the culture. And so I don't honestly.
Well, if we're talking about building culture, like Doom was 1993. I'm pretty sure Doom's been around for a lot longer than Animal Crossing as a franchise to build a culture.
At the same time, they, like you said, they built that culture. Like they are pretty much the father of FPSs. But I honestly don't think it's a fair comparison when you're looking at sales for like Doom and Animal Crossing, because it's two completely different monsters.
It's only been 2 weeks as well. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and
true.
My suspicion here is that I think we can say pretty safely Animal Crossing it's a cult franchise, right?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
I think that pretty much all of I hesitate to say like cultists, like Animal Crossing cultists.
No, you're correct.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to commit to that.
Them.
Animal Crossing cultists are going to break quarantine and they're going to line up outside of the store for like a pre-release in the middle of a global pandemic to get their hands on a physical copy, right?
Right.
Whereas Doom's market is far more mainstream. And I think that like the sales for Doom are probably going to keep trucking along. I think that we're seeing this massive, massive spike in Animal Crossing sales, like because of that cult status, and there's going to be like a pretty precipitous, I wouldn't say like necessarily like huge drop off. Like I'm sure it's still going to perform very, very well.
Yeah.
But I think Doom's probably going to catch up in those numbers over the next, 12 months, 2 years, right?
Okay, so I'm going to take what both of you just said and disagree with all of it. Because
Please do.
Because so here's the thing. Doom is absolutely the daddy of. In fact, I'll say id Software. They're the daddies of the FPS genre between Doom and Quake. And FPSs, or even just shooting games in general, one would argue is among the most I guess mainstream, as you put it, franchise or genres that has multiple franchises, whether it be Call of Duty, one of the many battle royales like Fortnite or PUBG in its days where people cared, or Doom itself. Like so many different FPSs. It's probably the genre that is the most picked up overall. But when we say specifically the term mainstream, I think people this is a good lesson in what is considered mainstream and what actually frickin' sells, because a lot of people forget about the era of the casual life sim, which in my opinion probably has more people who participate, play, or are willing to jump into that genre if they see other people enjoying it, versus something mainstream like an RPG, an MMO, an FPS, or something along those lines. I think I think back to the days of early Facebook, after it had opened up. It wasn't just colleges, with every fucking Farmville invite that I got from every fucking friend on my list, okay? And I know how much people get addicted to life sims, okay? How much people enjoy a casual, mindless, just relaxing experience sometimes over this intense, linear, narrow game.
Okay, so you're saying that like Animal Crossing sales are far more influenced by like micro influences than Doom.
Yeah, someone who's not a gamer and sees Doom isn't gonna pick up Doom. Someone who's not a gamer and sees Animal Crossing might go, "Oh, that looks fun. That looks relaxing."
I can agree with that. It's more accessible than Doom.
That's very interesting to me, because I was thinking like now with everything that's going on, there'd be a lot of like not gamers, but standard normie dudes that are like stuck at home and like, shit, I'm so bored. And seeing this stuff about Doom is like, oh, okay, maybe I'll like dust off the PlayStation and play a video game,
But what ends up actually happening is people end up not really wanting, I can't say people want, but a wider degree of people kind of sometimes just enjoy something that's a little more basic, and also that's more involved. The more involved something is in social media, which a game like Animal Crossing is far more conducive to sharing a clip of something unique that happened to them the first time they saw this, the first conversation they had with that person, something that they manually created. They took sweat and tears and hours to work on, and I know what that's like now that I've started doing it. And sharing that experience, and you can feel like you're a part of something a little bit bigger. It's why when you call it a cult, I somewhat agree, because it's almost like the cult that you signed up at the door. You're like, I saw the flyer and I wanted to join. Like it's almost like that more so, because it's just chill and relaxed. And I think people kind of want that right now more so than the game I'll binge out and be done with in 3 days.
Okay. Sly, you're muted.
Forgot to press my button. But to piggyback off that argument, what's in this day and age, what's more basic than the FPS in term? Well, speaking in regards to North
picking
America,
flowers, that's more basic than an FPS.
Right? Is it though?
No, you know what? It actually isn't, because you can see what you can do is you can put two white flowers next to each other, and then they sometimes crossbreed into a blue flower, and that blue flower can then mix with another blue flower, make a purple flower. Then you get these two orange roses, they make a black rose. It's all over the place.
Yeah, a huge part of like this conversations going on with Animal Crossings at the moment is demonstrating that it's like way more hardcore than Doom. Like so much more hardcore, way less casual than it actually seems, at least like to a lot of people. I think these two positions are not mutually exclusive. A lot of analysts and critics are attributing the success of Doom Eternal, like I say, it's sold more than double Doom 2016's opening week. It's the highest selling game on Steam of 2020 to date. It's been consistently at over 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. And that has got to be influenced by, people being stuck inside at the moment. So I think it's true of both of them. I think both of them are getting like a huge leg up from everything that's going on at the moment. But there is this kind of really interesting phenomena where Animal Crossing has kind of gone viral in a way that is just like the next level, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what fascinates me so much, because specifically because you call Doom the more mainstream game. But is it, when you see this kind of activity, would this not define the more mainstream experience?
You could call, like, in this situation, you can call anything mainstream, honestly, because, like,
but people don't.
People don't, but
Yeah,
you
people
really
don't.
could classify a lot of things in this situation as a lot of genres, I guess, in this situation mainstream. One thing I wanted to go back to real quick, because I love the numbers anyway. When you were talking about the Animal Crossing numbers, like in Japan, these were physical numbers.
Yeah.
One other thing we have to realize about Japan is culturally really into collector shit. So, and in comparison to Japan, North America and Europe, half the time, I'm not even say half the time, 75% of the time doesn't get the same things Japan gets. So, I mean, we were lucky, as in North America and everywhere else, to get the Animal Crossing Switch. Like, bang up fucking idea. Like, they probably made a mint off of fucking Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Switches.
Apparently they've sold like 400,000 units of those.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So they'd be stupid not to do that.
Yeah.
But again, in terms of like other collector's editions, Japan releases a lot of stuff that we in North America, that the companies think, well, would we be into this? Do we really want to take a shot at producing this and trying to make a little bit off of it? And they pass. 75% of the time they pass. What pisses me off is, like, and we'll get to that later, what pisses me off is half the S&T shit and Persona shit that they get in Japan, we don't get.
Saw that one coming a mile away.
We don't get, and it pisses me the fuck off. But yeah, like it's not news. It's like, it's nothing new to see, physical copies in Japan selling so well, because there's a lot of shit attached to those physical copies. Some just might be standard editions, but a lot of it's like, oh, you get this, and this with it. Of course they're gonna jump on the idea.
So let me get this straight. What you're proposing is that there's 1.88 million physical units sold. That's probably going to represent like the majority of units sold in Japan. Like, most of them are going to be buying physical units over digital. Whereas in the West, the digital sales are probably going to be higher than the physical unit sales, particularly now.
Yeah.
And like I say, there was definitely like a correlation there with Japan's response to coronavirus being far more reserved, at least like, on launch weekend, which is where we're taking these stats from, than pretty much anywhere around the world. And I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. Okay. So yeah, okay. So units sold. Animal Crossing selling a lot more than Doom. We're estimating, again, big spike at the moment. Obviously, it's going to like flatten out a little bit, but at the moment, like more than double the units sold in Japan alone compared to global sales across everywhere, across all platforms of Doom, and that is wild. I think that Mike is really onto something here, talking about the influence of social media, the influence of like seeing friends, the influence of like that sort of like Farmville. Was that what it was? the Farmville phenomenon. That's really interesting to me as well. I dug through the hashtags relating to Doom and relating to Animal Crossing, and this is wild. You think that like double units in Japan compared to what you thought those stats were wild. You thought the sales stats were wild. Listen to this. Okay, so last 24 hours, hashtag Doom is seeing an average of 33 unique tweets per hour, 17 retweets, and 7.2k impressions. That's okay. Hashtag Doom Eternal is seeing an average of 71 unique tweets per hour, 79 retweets, 54k impressions. Pretty good. Hashtag Animal Crossing New Horizons. Average of 488 tweets per hour.
Sounds about right.
1,850 retweets and 390,000 impressions. Okay. I think
I know what one I think you're going. I know exactly what one you're going to do next.
I just want to state this again. So hashtag Doom Eternal, 54,000 impressions per hour in an average hour over the last 24 hours. Hashtag Animal Crossing New Horizons, nearly 400,000 impressions an hour. Okay. Hashtag Animal Crossing, seeing an average of 16,571 unique tweets per hour, 11,375 retweets, and 8.2 million impressions. Hashtag Doom at the moment is getting 7.2 thousand impressions an hour. Hashtag Animal Crossing is getting 8.2 million.
Now, there's one that you didn't.
There's one more. Hashtag ACNH.
That's the one. Oh, no.
Yeah. 16,729 tweets per hour, 12,466 retweets, 8.9 million impressions.
So I will say that that's partly because when you actually tweet from the Switch for Animal Crossing, it actually does like 3 hashtags all at once. So there's probably very similar numbers to ACNH and Animal Crossing. There's one other hashtag that it uses that I can't remember.
So Animal Crossing is using like these hashtags in like integration from the Switch.
If you use the share function from the Switch while sharing something from Animal Crossing, yes, it automatically hashtags it at the end.
Okay. Is there any function like that in Doom Eternal that we know of?
Not to my knowledge, but I obviously am not a reputable source on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would imagine no.
I would imagine no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So having that inbuilt functionality is obviously going to help. I can understand that like these numbers would melt together a little bit here. So I just want to kind of bring it back. 50,000 impressions per hour over the last 24 hours for hashtag Doom Eternal. That's the important number. 54,000 impressions. Then we go to hashtag ACNH, and you've got 8.9 million impressions per hour over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that's
and that is magnitudes beyond the discrepancy in the sales figures. And that, I mean, the conclusion, obviously, Twitter, for whatever reason, is just so horny for Animal Crossing.
No. Chat, I think chat's at the point is that because of all those unique experiences that everyone has every day, there's a lot more to tweet about Animal Crossing. So that's a big reason why there's such a huge discrepancy specifically in social media. But it just goes to show you, man, all you got to do is in your console, in your game, throw in a share function with a hashtag and let people go nuts, man.
Okay. What's important here? It's not just that. It's not just that people are tweeting more about Animal Crossing. It's that people are engaging more with Animal Crossing content on social media. You could tweet about something as much as you like and have it completely buried if people don't want to see it, if people are not interested in seeing it. The fact that there is 8.9 million versus 54,000 impressions means that people are engaging with this content. People are talking about it. People are retweeting it. People are finding it compelling. And that is, I think that's like the big question, at least for me on this discussion. That's like the big sort of point we want to examine. Yeah. If you have a look at these hashtags, if you scroll down the Animal Crossing's hashtags that I just mentioned, there's a lot of fan art. There's a lot of people sharing like outfits and stuff like that, which is obviously, a functionality that people are going to be like engaging with a lot. There's a lot of like memes, as you would expect. There's Yeah, there's nothing that like really kind of stands out, but there's just so much. There's just so much content here.
I saw a great comic because there's the Easter event now of the Easter Bunny putting down all the eggs, putting them in trees, burying them. And then it shows all the villagers run up to him and beat him with a net, and then he's just injured with a bunch of bandages. And then he goes home, he opens his paycheck, it's 2 coins, and then he heats up cup noodle and starts crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, this started off really funny, and now I'm depressed.
I saw that. If you have a look at these Doom hashtags and sort of scroll down, there's a bit of fan art, which people are kind of engaging with a bit. There's a lot of like stream clips that no one cares about and that no one's really engaged with at all. There's a bit of cosplay, which is cool. The majority, so like the content on Twitter that people are engaging with most with the Doom hashtag is content that's about fucking Animal Crossing. Like,
yeah, that's right. All the Doom guy Animal Crossing.
Every single like really popular tweet with hashtag Doom or hashtag Doom Eternal is about fucking Animal Crossing.
It's its own hashtag doesn't even represent.
Yeah, its own hashtag is being cannibalized by Animal Crossing content.
I love it.
That's so wild to me.
They came out on the same day, and so everyone was, just they were just like, let's do happy things and collaborate.
Well, they started it, didn't they? Like, I saw Bethesda official accounts were tweeting a lot of like Doom Guy and Isabel holding hands, kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people have just kind of like run with that meme, and all of the most popular Doom content in social media is making that comparison or that juxtaposition.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much a product of the times, because right now more than ever, I think everyone just wants everyone to be able to enjoy whatever it is that they enjoy, regardless of the numbers, regardless of the stats. And I mean, what better way to do it than to, pay homage to 2 games that released on the same day for what was, for a lot of people, the start of a time where they weren't going to know whether they were going to get to see friends and family or get to do anything in their normal lives. Hell, people didn't even know if they were going to have jobs at that point. So the collaborations between them, as hilarious as it is to see it cannibalized on social media, is also in many ways quite endearing in the gaming community.
Definitely, but it's just it's a collaboration that has done so well for Animal Crossing and so poorly for Doom.
Yeah.
I think Mikey really did come to the nugget of it, that there's something about Animal Crossing that is like way more approachable and way more, I guess, like easier to be carried by that sort of micro influencing than Doom for whatever reason.
Yeah, and Sly, you wanted to say something right there. I heard. I saw you want it.
No. I was really about to say something, and take a page out of your book, make a really bad pun, but I just left.
Well, now you have to do it.
Do it, you coward.
Fuck. Would you say that id Software's tweets and things with Animal Crossing led to their own?
Don't do it.
Doom.
Yeah, they were doomed. I knew it. I saw it coming. As soon as you started speaking, I was like, who's gonna say they're doomed?
That was a ride. No, I didn't see that coming. I was like, wait, is this going to be like another Horizons thing? Is he going to steal my joke?
You didn't even do it yet. Now you've ruined the surprise for when you do it on the show.
No.
You're not going to do it?
No, I didn't do it.
No?
No, I've lost sight of my Horizon. No, it's not.
No,
there.
see, now you fucked it.
It's not organic now. Yeah, I just fucked it.
Yeah, there you go.
You're
the one who is doomed in reality.
Yeah, we already did that one.
Yeah, no.
We did that one like 15 seconds ago.
I know, it's what we call a callback.
See, that's why I didn't want to do it.
I'm pretty sure a callback only really works when you've like, I don't know. I don't know what the appropriate time frame is for a callback, but it's definitely
within 15 seconds. We've already established.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh man,
God.
Huh.
Okay, so is there any more to say about that phenomenon, or should we move on?
No, I think the big thing is really how much Animal Crossing is. You would almost believe Nintendo knew what was about to happen to the world with how how well timed Animal Crossing was, because I've seen people who
umbrella.
Yeah, Nintendo's umbrella. We'll get to that in a second. Nintendo's umbrella. Yeah, that's the no Google's umbrella. That's the reality of the situation. Google or Amazon is umbrella, one of the two. Yeah, it's insane how well timed it was. And I say well timed, nothing's well timed when it comes to the current scenario, but like there's really no other apt way to put it.
I definitely didn't expect it. And it kind of seems like, so my first thought is that Animal Crossing New Horizons is kind of like the Monster Hunter world of Animal Crossings, right? That it hasn't really like saturated the West in a major way until this.
Yeah. No, that's actually really good. Chat was talking about that a little bit, about FPSs being largely saturated in the West, and that also may be impacting its social media and sales presence.
Right, that like Westerners kind of want something different, maybe. But I thought it was interesting to like go back when we were seeing these enormous sale numbers from New Horizons and look at where is it? Let me see. The last Animal Crossing's game, Animal Crossing New Leaf on 3DS 2013. As of December 2019, it's sold 12.5 million copies worldwide. So it's not exactly like a niche. Yeah, I really thought that these games were just like a cult classic, right? And that it was like this really sort of niche thing. But okay, to be fair, this is over a period of 6 years. Since it was launched at the end.
Units.
Yeah,
I didn't
12.5
think
million
sold that well.
Yeah, and so Doom 2016, obviously, you know, Animal Crossing's had like 3 years ahead of it, but it sold like 4 million units up until the launch of Doom Eternal. So I think this was kind of like a blind spot for a lot of people, and maybe shouldn't have been as surprising as it is.
I think a part of that is just because it's not a game that releases something every year. When they release something, it's like when GTA 5 got announced.
Yeah.
Like it's got
it's not like that. It's fucking Animal Crossing, you know.
No, but I mean like when a new
still carries a lot of weight. Like I get what
evidently.
Yeah, so do you understand that the world, so on like March 27th or something, Rockstar tweeted a rickroll of a Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer like 4 or 5 days before April 1st. The number of mad people that wasn't a real announcement. You don't when Rockstar makes when Rockstar makes a new fucking Grand Theft Auto, it's not something that happens super often. So when it does, it's monumental in its reach. And Animal Crossing is kind of the same. A lot of people forget it started on the N64. We didn't get it till GameCube. And then they had Wild World, which chat's saying also sold about 12 million on the Wii. And then you have this, which sold like 12 million on the 3DS. So it's like every time they do put something out, you know, we look at like our games that really like sell 6 million here, or 7 million there, or 4 million here, or 3 million here. Devil May Cry 5, I think, hit 3 million after like a year or something. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It pales in comparison to anything like this.
Right. But I mean, okay, you're right that there's these long sort of time frames between launches for an Animal Crossing game. But it's kind of like that for Doom as well. Like, you know, Doom 2016 was the first Doom in 15 years?
I don't know. Right? Doom 2016? I don't know, maybe.
It was like very highly critically acclaimed. Everyone loved it. Over the course of 4 years, it sold about 4 million units, right? Doom Eternal, like, it's been more than 4 years. That seems like a pretty big time frame as well. So it still doesn't explain it. I really think that like Animal Crossing's, at least for me, was such a blind spot. I just never realized how huge it was, how big a deal it was.
Now you know.
Yeah, I mean, now we all know, right?
I didn't know that the other titles had done. I knew the original did phenomenally well. I played the original like a madman for months and months and months.
Really?
Yes, on the game.
But the original On the GameCube, okay.
Yeah, for the West, it was GameCube. They had it on the N64, which is always a weird thing for me. It came with a memory card for the GameCube because it took a whole, like, base not cool memory card to fit the whole thing. So it was a time, man. But I've seen so many people using Animal Crossing in a way that Doom can never be used, and it's to connect with people, and I think that's kind of like the ultimate lesson. There was a tweet I saw, someone I know, who they and their sister currently live on opposite sides of the United States. They were going to travel to see each other. They can't anymore, so they both bought Animal Crossing, and they visit each other's islands every other day to spend time with one another and chat with one another over, like, Discord or something like that. There's ways you can use an experience like that. You're not going to be like, let's hop on Doom every other day for 2-3 weeks. It's not going to happen. Right. Until we have the Doom MMO. Right. Then maybe.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Doom MMO.
Yeah, like, this time last week, I was definitely the like, when the kids say, "Mum, can we have Animal Crossing?" I'm the mum that says, "No, we have Animal Crossing at home," and it's fucking Stardew Valley. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm still all about that. I'm still all about that. But like, I guess it's only me because 1.9 million physical units just in Japan in 3 heckin' days is just like, I cannot wrap my head around that.
It's absurd.
Well, you better get to wrapping your head around it because it's probably not going anywhere. I don't even think what is going to be a cataclysmic impact on the industry in next week, which will be our final topic of the show later. I don't even think that'll slow it down. I don't.
No, probably not.
No, I don't think that's enough. It'll maybe a little, but not a lot.
Is there anything else we want to say about Animal Crossings or Doom? Anyone got any like Marauder jokes? They're pretty funny. They're pretty good.
No,
I
don't think they are good.
Yeah.
What, the Marauders? People
jokes.
crying about the Marauders?
No, the jokes.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to be it for our first topic, and that of Animal Crossing. The game's a couple weeks old, so we wanted to lead with that. But now we're going to be going on to topic 2 because we got to do our Twig section of the show, This Week in Gaming. And This Week in Gaming is kind of a weird thing to talk about because there's very, very high-profile titles that are still eclipsed by our first topic of the show and our soon-to-be last topic of the show.
Yeah, not the best timing for these, honestly.
I mean, they were going to be rough with the way March and April was originally looking. They were kind of always going to be in this awkward spot, and as everything's moved around schedule-wise, even Animal Crossing suffered a delay and released in a time that ended up fitting more in like the current landscape of gaming and everything. But we have Persona 5 Royal, which is more like a definitive edition of the Persona release. And we have Resident Evil 3 Remake, which was highly anticipated after how well Resident Evil 2
Not such a definitive edition.
We'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to that.
So as you all know, Sly is our resident Velvet Man room, as we put towards the beginning of the show. He's got it's all over his brand. He's been playing it. Like I was digging through streams for clips to look, and it was like, okay, let's see what clip do I want out of these 4 13-hour streams.
Wow.
Hey, listen, if he doesn't do that, he ain't gonna finish it before next week.
That's fair.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I have all the time in the world because I'm treating 7 Remake as a guilty pleasure, and I'll be doing it off stream. So I have time.
Playing it off stream, you madman.
I know.
You mean you want to enjoy your experience?
How dare you?
And not need to ham it up a little bit? Come on.
How dare
you? You always gotta ham it up.
How dare I?
How dare you, indeed.
It's like, what's the difference between Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal?
Okay, so like Mike said, Persona 5 Royal is the definitive edition of Persona 5, kind of like akin to Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden. When Persona 4 Golden came out, it had new social links, a new character, another. Think of it as like DLC, but not really DLC because it's adding stuff to the story as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Persona 4 Golden kind of completed the story past.
Okay. I thought you said Persona 5 Golden for a second. Yeah.
Is it kind of like Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition?
Think about that, but on crack. Think about like 20 plus hours of stuff in a game that's already 100 plus hours long.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to all the stuff that was already like in the game, like before the final months, I guess, in the game calendar, they added a lot of quality of life, a lot of really good fucking quality of life, new confidants, new people around town. Yeah, it's just a really, like Mike said, uncracked definitive edition, and it's so good.
Now, there's a big discussion to be had regarding that. So Persona's a franchise that has always been among the most talked about, especially since 3 came out a while back. I'd say 4 really propelled it for fans who are JRPGs, but 3 and 5 are kind of like, you know, I'd say I hear the most people talk about anything between 3, 4, and 5. 1 and 2 is really more your room, Sly. You can talk about Innocent Sin and things like that going back.
Mm-hmm.
But we live in an age that's a lot different than the Persona that I got used to when I was in college. Because I remember playing Persona 4. My friend brought it to college. I never heard of it before. And I fell in love with it immediately. And then I found out there was this Persona 4 Golden. It was available on the Vita. I have it on the PlayStation TV. And it was also a definitive version. I kind of got into it at a time where re-releasing a definitive version, a Game of the Year version of a game, was maybe a little bit more normal. But there's a very important question I want to pose to you, Sly, in that, are we not past the era of definitive game releases like this, as opposed to releasing a DLC and a definitive version for people who maybe didn't buy it originally? So people who did buy it originally have the option, and then people who didn't buy it originally have a full price game that's actually worth more than the original was?
Are we past that point yet?
Are we past that point? Should they? I'm basically asking, should they have let people who played the original one buy it for $20? And to use your point, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition did that. You could buy Royal Edition for $20, or you could just buy it outright or buy the PC version, which was the.
I mean, like everything does that now, right? Like every game with DLC will finish their DLC season and then release some kind of, you know, special edition that people can either buy outright or they can, like, you know, upgrade their vanilla game.
I mean, there's a lot of arguments to be made for that.
I want you to make them. I want you to make your side of the argument.
I agree. You can definitely, with all the stuff that we've gotten in Royal as compared to vanilla. Yeah, I agree. You could possibly do something akin to that, but from the JP side of things, I guess, missing out on stuff like a new soundtrack. You know, they had to go back.
Okay. Yeah. You know, this makes a lot of sense to call back to that.
They had to go back and like record new tracks. Like there's a new, like today I just learned there was a new Mementos track. I'm like, what the fuck? That sounds fucking awesome. There's new opening, there's new battle music, everything. So they added on to that. So it like, I see where you're going with it, but at the same time, it'd be kind of hard to, you know, profit, quote unquote, off of the new and everything that gets put in.
Yeah, it's just I've gotten the question a lot because I haven't been able to play it at the pace you have. You know, between Animal Crossing and taking care of a few things before next week, I've put maybe like 4 hours, you know, a day into it at most. And yesterday and today, I actually didn't get to put any time into it, so I've only gotten through a few things, seen a few of the new scenes, heard a few of the new tracks, seen a few of the new facial designs, seen some of the quality of life. And the more you play, the more substantial it seems. It's not just kind of adding something to the end of the game, which it absolutely does, but it also is completely rewriting not the script, but the way you experience the game from beginning to end.
Is it not also kind of a remaster? Like they've updated a lot of like textures and models and stuff? That's what I read. That's what
If they have, I
You're
didn't
the second
notice,
person
to be
say it.
honest.
You're the second person to say it, and like I've played both, and I see the new models, but at the same time, I see people in my chat says it looks a little bit more polished. I'm like, somewhat.
I was reading that, and I think that maybe like lends a little bit more weight to, you know, buying it again outright rather than just like upgrading through DLC, right? Because you do have the difference, I guess, between, you know, a definitive edition and a remaster. So maybe we should be thinking of it more on kind of that track.
Yeah.
Even though it's a remaster that's come out like, you know, what, 18 months, 2 years after the original?
Wasn't it last year, February? When was it, Sly?
No,
Okay.
2016.
It was 2016? No. Where did my life go?
Persona 5 did not come out 2016.
I refuse to believe that. Yeah, I don't believe it came out the same years.
Like 2017 was Strange Journey Redux, so yeah, it was 2016.
Persona 5 release date, September 15, 2016. What the fuck?
We didn't get it until 2017, though.
Yeah, we didn't get it until 2017.
Okay, that's
April 2017.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been like exactly 3 years since it was released in the West.
Holy shit, where did my last fucking 3 years of my life go? I feel like I played it yesterday.
Oh my god.
Stranger Redux?
So
I'm blown away right now. You don't understand. It literally feels like I played it like just last year for the first time.
Right.
It seems that maybe we could make the argument that it's like somewhere between a definitive edition and a remaster then. But I can see why people would be apprehensive about wanting to buy it outright in a new edition only 3 years after the original game comes out.
I mean, fucking so many other games do it a year later. Like, that's a generosity comparatively. Think about, dude, I remember Pokemon did, I mean, they're not doing it this time, but with Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon the next year.
Yeah, but that's
Final
just...
Fantasy 15 did Royal Edition the next year, you know?
Yeah, but that's just fucking greedy. I mean, with Pokemon anyway, like, that's...
Yeah, good point.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I don't need to. The only reason I even bought Sword and Shield is because they said they weren't doing that again.
Like, this is only one part of, you know, the Persona 5, I guess, milking, I like to call it.
Oh yeah, there's also Scramble. There's the dancing game.
Dancing in Moonlight.
Right.
Yeah. It's ever since 4. It's like they usually like to milk it a little bit before they move on to their next IP or whatever the studios will be working on.
SMT5.
Okay. Do you really want to go down this rabbit hole?
No, I don't, because this show will be an out. Can you
30 seconds? All right, hang on.
Okay.
Can you, because this is something I've always struggled with. Can you please explain to me, like in a straight line, 30 seconds, no bullshit, the connection between SMT and Persona?
All right.
You're on the clock.
They're the same thing.
They're the same thing?
Lore-wise...
Sweet, done. Cool, let's move on. Let's do...
Lore-wise, the connection is that from SMT to Raido Kusunoha the 40th leaves to...
Already lost me.
Goes back in time to try and correct the apocalypse that's already happened.
Wait, it's an alternate timeline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all it is. It's an alternate timeline.
Yeah, so you got to remember that up until Persona
weeds,
5,
man.
it was Shin Megami Tensei Persona. It was like a subcategory of the SMT games that became so popular. They dropped SMT in the title for 5.
That's some Yoko Taro shit right there.
Yeah, that's all it is.
You fortunately don't need to know any of that to play the games.
You really don't. I mean, it helps if you start from if and like go forward from Persona 1. It helps, but.
Okay, great. No, that was good. That was impressive restraint from you, Sly.
Yeah, it's like the square rectangle conversation. You know, like all squares, all rectangles are not squares, but
squares. Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, so all Persona games are SMT, but not all SMT are Persona.
There you go.
Okay,
there you go. That is a very good way to put it. Yeah, it's but. Oh, no, Sly, you go.
No. Like, you just had to fucking bring up SMT5.
I did because it doesn't exist yet.
You didn't though. You really didn't.
Look, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and make the argument for Mike.
Please.
3 years ago, 2017 was the 25th anniversary of SMT. That was when they did all the I guess PR and had all the concerts for the 25th anniversary. And that's when Strange Cherry Redux came out. If we're thinking about SMT5, what's 2 years from now?
30 years.
Yep, they can just fucking sit on it and wait. And that's probably what's going to end up happening. So for anyone who's waiting on SMT,
why would that have is waiting 28 years for an arbitrary 30 years? Is that going to have any effect on sales?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean,
really?
And this is and the thing about this is a mainline. SMT5 is the main line. That's the main timeline. This is a mainline release. So yeah,
I wouldn't. Okay, wait.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, Persona 5 still sells better than SMT5.
Let me just sit back here for a second, man. I was never gonna bother playing SMT5. I was done with the SMT franchise, but then they said it was the 30-year anniversary, and I guess I gotta get it now. I guess I gotta play it. Who's gonna be in that position?
The people who waited 10 years to play Final Fantasy 15 because it started off as versus.
Yeah, but they. Right, but they weren't. But those people weren't going to be like, "Oh, I was going to play it until they said it was the 30-year anniversary, and now I guess I'm going to play it."
The people who waited for Kingdom Hearts 3.
The people who waited for Kingdom Hearts 3 were going to play it no matter when it came out.
Yeah, but imagine
waiting another 2 years.
Were they?
Where are they going to release our game on a lunar eclipse? If that's all right, everybody, we're just going to wait for the next lunar eclipse.
So, dude, you're about to make it sound like Final Fantasy 11 crafting conditions.
On sales. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
The thing is, I guarantee you SMT5 doesn't do as well as Persona 5. And then we never see another SMT game after. Hell, if we even see SMT5.
Yeah.
Sly, you're muted.
You muted again, bro.
Fuck. I'll agree with you. It might not do well as Persona 5, but they're still gonna fucking make some. And
some.
Fuck. Have you seen the surveys that come out every year?
No.
Asking what we want?
No, because I don't trust what people want. Neither did Blizzard, apparently.
Yeah, some of the options we get are Persona MMO, return to SMT MMO,
really?
SMT remasters, just outlandish things. Yep. SMT is not going to disappear.
Wait. So they survey people. They know that people want these things, right? Why haven't they done it?
They're waiting for that 30-year anniversary, man.
They're waiting for that lunar eclipse, bro. That's all going to come.
Dude, I actually do firmly believe, because here's the thing. It's not even just about waiting for the 30-year anniversary. It's the sheer fact that they can literally make so many Persona 5 related things until then while they make it. And they churn, Atlas churns out Persona content when they want it, when they see it do well. They're like, okay, we got to make 8 different versions of 8 different genres of game. I'm waiting for the third person. I'm waiting for the fucking Fortnite collaboration coming up for Persona, where you just you pick up cards and you're just like Persona. And that's it.
At this point, that wouldn't even surprise me. With a number of Persona, we got a Persona 5 and what was it? Sonic. What was that?
Sonic.
It wasn't Sonic Mania. Sonic Heroes. Yeah. Sonic Heroes collab. I was like, okay, all right.
Dude, Joker's even in Smash, man. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's another thing.
Sonic Forces. It was Sonic Forces.
Sonic Forces. That's the one. I would not be surprised if they ended up doing a Fortnite collab at this point.
Hey, Sonic Mania was real good, at least.
Sega Atlas, same company, really, pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
It's, but they gotta wait until the lunar eclipse where the Fire Nation can't do their bending. Otherwise, it's not gonna sell, dude.
I think you keep saying that lunar phases are a thing in SMT.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yes, every step you take in SMT is a lunar phase is part of the waning or waxing of the moon. Good job. Good job.
All right.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say he knew that.
Good job.
All right.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say he knew that secretly, and that
Yeah.
was
I did.
part of the pun the whole time because he lost his New Horizons pun earlier.
So Persona 5 Royal on Metacritic, we've got a critical score of 94, user score of 8.7 out of 10, obviously. That's like way closer. It's really interesting when you see like so little discrepancy between a critical score and a user rating.
Yeah, because Metacritic, I see like 98s, and then it's like a 7.1 for like the user.
Right. Okay. So here's an interesting one for you. Animal Crossing New Horizons, just to like draw the comparison back. Okay. Metascore 91. User score. Take a guess.
67.
You reckon 6.7?
Oh, that's for the
And
user score. Yeah, 6.7
For the user score.
Yeah.
1.
You reckon 1 for the user score? Can you justify that? Are you just like
He's
bringing the memes?
He's the guy who goes on The Price is Right and just puts $1 down and is like, I hope everyone else goes over.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So Animal Crossing New Horizons, Metascore 91, user score 5.4.
I can probably name.
Let's go.
I can probably
There
name
are-
a lot of reasons as to why it's 5.4.
There's one reason. There's only one reason. There's over 1,200 negative reviews.
It says only on Switch.
No, that's not it. There's one complaint that is like
The
overwhelming
islands, the island sharing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People saying, I bought this with my partner. I bought this, for my family. Like my kids are playing it, whatever. There's only one island. We can't have multiple, saves or whatever. But that has just tanked the user score for Animal Crossings, which I think is interesting because I hadn't seen that anywhere on social media.
That's because no one's talking about it on social media. Everyone on social media is just playing alone.
Exactly, because everyone I follow on social media is a loser. Like, oh shit, I can't play it with my family. Oh well.
Fuck them, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyone who's tweeting
Maybe
about
if I
like,
had
I
a
mean, my
family.
family plays it, but I'm gonna fucking skip all that shit.
Anyway, not to like drag us backwards, but I always think it's
No,
really
that's
interesting when you see like the kind of discrepancy between the two being so close.
Well, the thing is, like, Persona 5 is already like overwhelmingly positively received in terms of its vanilla. Like, it damn near came to be game of the year at one point. It was damn near in their consideration. And to still have that kind of reception, yeah, that says something. Even with the edition, and even with people, kind of reluctant to buy it because, well, hey, what's different than vanilla? Why should I pay for, like you said, why should I pay for Royal?
You would have thought that would have like had some effect on the user rating, right?
I feel like the big thing that has the biggest effect on user rating would be the fact that it's $60 again. I think that if anything's going to affect the user score of Persona 5, it's going to be that instead of being able to just download it.
Yeah.
And it's fair. Again, I think that eventually maybe they somewhere down the line, not with Persona 5, they wise up and maybe do it that way because it's more at least if they plan to at any point care about the Western audience. I'm not convinced that it's ever that much a factor for them, considering that how well it does relatively in the West, and they just have that like 6-month gap between the Japanese and English releases.
Yeah, like, going back to what I was saying with the collector culture in comparison to what they get, like the Phantom Thieves edition we got pales in comparison.
Yeah.
To
one day maybe we'll get a global release at the same time on a Persona game, Sly. One day maybe Sly, maybe. Again,
30-year anniversary in 2 years. The shit that's gonna come out for that, nah, family. We ain't getting that. I'm gonna have to pay like $500 just to import that shit to North America. Let's fucking go. All right.
See, at least with Trials, they're playing catch up because the Trials games all released in Japan, and then they got then as they've released in Japan, they've had to
Oh, you mean Trails?
Yeah, Trails. Sorry, not Trials.
Why did you say Trials? I was like, wait, what?
Well, somebody asked me about the Trials games earlier, so it was fresh on my mind.
Oh.
So yeah, for Trails, and it's like, oh yeah, Cold Steel 3 came out, waiting on that Cold Steel 4 in Japan announcement any day now. It's like, that's just like how off pace those games are.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating though. I think I've played Persona 5. I love, even just in the first 10 hours, there's an insane amount of quality of life. Things I didn't even know I wanted. It is 100% the definitive version. If after 7 Remake, at this point it's kind of close. So unless you're not planning on picking up 7 Remake and you're looking for an RPG to sink 120 plus hours into, and I mean that, by the way.
Here you go. Again,
P5R.
Like, again, he told me 13-hour streams for me, like, and I missed one day because of fucking RE3. And I'm only on the 4th palace. And you know there's more. You know there's more beyond what we already seen in vanilla.
Missed one day because of RE3.
I'm not even fucking halfway through with 4 days. 4 fucking days. Well, 4 days and like some hours. Yeah, it's a big game, boys.
And how long did you spend on RE3? Because I think we'll come to that in a minute, won't we?
Well,
7 hours.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Well, 7 hours.
That was our other release.
I kind of stretched it out a little bit. A little bit. I play those games kind of slow, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
Well, we'll get to it right now because that's the other release that came out this week. Something that, again, going back to our conversation about something that's mainstream versus a little bit, not or perceived as mainstream versus what actually is. Persona 5 to RPG fans is as mainstream as you get, kind of, along with like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. Like it's like up there in terms of mainstream RPGs. This is mainstream in the horror. I mean, Resident Evil defined the horror genre, and Resident Evil 2 Remake was considered a masterpiece amongst like remakes. The definitive idea of what a remake should be like, especially in the current days, if you're going to actually do something.
Okay,
RE3 has not gotten that reception.
No, it hasn't.
Can we explore for a moment, like what the definitive idea of what a remake should be? What is that? What did Resident Evil 2 Remake do so right?
It recaptured the atmosphere that the original had, the way that we perceived it, because obviously the original doesn't have the same atmosphere nowadays, because it's just it's dated, it's aged, it's old, it uses old ideas that aren't really in line with anything anymore. But things such as an actual sense of survival, it maintained that after the series had kind of gone away from it for a while, brought it back with RE7, and then preserved the idea in RE2. It took the original story. It still paid homages to it in every which way it could, and then expanded upon it in small, subtle, and appreciative ways. And then it had a giant dude in a hat chasing you the whole game.
The dude doesn't have a hat this time.
No,
he doesn't.
There's your first mistake.
That is the first mistake. He can't ask
but he's faster.
He can't say milady if he doesn't have a hat.
But he's faster, and they gave him Jason powers. So
yeah. So RE3 Remake, I've only seen people. I haven't actually seen an opinion that has like a basis. Like no one's stating like what about it is not clicking for them on my social media. I'm only seeing people going, man, that wasn't what I was hoping it would be. Now, Sly, you've played it. I need you to define that for me.
Well, last year we had this experience which had a lot of tension. Like it gave you a lot of like good tension. It vastly improves on the original and just like cranks it up to 11. It brought a fresh perspective on some things, including the original RE2 story. Really good gameplay, really good graphics, everything. RE3 gameplay and graphics got it in spades. A lot of people came into RE3 with the expectation that it was going. Oh, we had Mr. X last time. Fucking Nemesis is going to be fucking. It's going to be fucking. Oh God, I'm going to be shitting my pants. Nah. In my perspective, Nemesis wasn't really like, okay, there are jump scares. That's one thing. Nemesis didn't have the same effect that Mr. X did. In anything, he was more of an obstacle / annoyance than anything. Like, I didn't feel scared. He was just there. He was just there at points, and he gets in your way a bit. He chases you for a bit, and he gives up. That's it. Mr. X could have, like, kind of, like, makes his way to you. No matter where you are, he kind of tries to make his way to you. There's that. The story, the original RE3 story, kind of, switched a little bit. There were a lot of key moments that were missed. There are a lot of new moments that are really good. The way they put the spin on certain moments in the original that still kind of retained. And the remake was decent. All in all, like, it was a good attempt, but it didn't have the same impact as RE2 remake did.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just real quick. I think this is really interesting. The criticisms, a lot of the criticisms that we make comparing the Resident Evil 3 remake with the Resident Evil 2 remake are criticisms that we can make and were making from the original Resident Evil 3 compared to the original Resident Evil 2. Like, Resident Evil 3 was kind of generally, like, critically accepted as just not being as good. It was not as well received. And they're remaking that. In remaking Resident Evil 2 and then remaking Resident Evil 3, it seems almost like to be expected that, like, the remake of the better game is going to be better, right?
Okay. All right. But to question your question, like, would it be wrong for people to expect the remake, the 3 remake, to be better? Like, seeing that
absolutely not.
Experience.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Taking like new and novel directions and like basically working the kinks out of what made the original Resident Evil sort of fall a little bit flat and trying to, like, elevate that, trying to make like a better game, right? But a lot of the criticism that I've seen about the Resident Evil 3 remake is like, hey, it wasn't like that in the original. So I've been seeing like a lot of reviews that I've been looking at, a lot of reviews that I've been reading, both like professionally and like user reviews, are saying on one hand, Resident Evil 2 was a better game than Resident Evil 3 originally. And yet being critical of Resident Evil 3 remake doing things differently to the original Resident Evil 3, which was not as good a game as the original Resident Evil 2. It seems like a little bit of a little bit of a contradiction, right?
Yeah.
I think the most reasonable criticism I'm seeing is that it's only like 5 hours long for most people's playthroughs.
Assuming you're just doing one playthrough on casual playthrough on one difficulty, and you're not trying to go through like the crazy hard stuff, or doing multiple playthroughs if you missed anything the first time, etc., etc.
And I think that's reasonable, but at the same time, like the length of a single playthrough of a game shouldn't really like dictate everything about how we receive it, right?
It shouldn't dictate everything, but it dictates a lot. I mean, well, for a Resident Evil game, it shouldn't dictate a lot, in honesty, in comparison to past Resident Evil games. And we've seen these shits be like speedrun. We know how long they can take.
Most of them aren't terribly long.
They're not terribly long. If you know what you're doing, again, this is like once we've broken the game in half and we know everything. If you know what you're doing, they're not really long games. Even still, on a first playthrough, if you have a history of Resident Evil, it's not going to take you that fucking long. Like, people are expecting like a day and a half, 2 day experience with Resident Evil. Nah, family. That ain't going to happen. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that length of a remake, I'd say that depends on the remake. I think Resident Evil, expecting it to be like a monstrously long game if you don't plan on doing multiple difficulties. Yeah, I mean, I held the expectation most people would have it done in a day. That was my full on expectation.
And I'm glad that expectation was done. Now I can get back to P5R.
Okay, so let's again, like not getting into spoilers, and obviously we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this topic soon.
Okay.
But let us compare remaking a game into a 5-hour experience compared to remaking like a quarter of a game into like a 100-hour plus experience.
Do you really think that's going to be 100 hours? Dude, I can beat the original in like 30, 40 hours with bonus content. If that game
I've been hearing. All right,
wait.
No spoilers. No.
Still, I don't know. I don't want to know what you've even been hearing.
Okay.
Because
okay,
that's still going to be information.
I'm just saying that it's an interesting juxtaposition, right? That you've got a remake thinking that it's kind of fine to release a 5-hour, 5 to 7 hour experience, basically something you can smash through in a day, like pretty comfortably, as opposed to, oh, hey, we're going to remake this game. Here's a great opportunity for us to fill it out, right? To give people a little bit more, to expand it, to kind of, right? You get what I'm saying? I wonder why you didn't do that.
Well, we're talking about two totally different. From what you're saying, we're talking about two totally different monsters. Again, in terms of the originals, like I said, in terms of the original REs, there's not a lot of source material to really expand upon. And I will say, for what they did expand upon, what they did kind of I
don't know, the films did a pretty good job of padding it out.
Yeah, they kind of from what they did expand upon, and what they did kind of flip a little bit. They did a good job on it. They did a pretty decent job on it. I would say I was pleasantly surprised with a few things that I saw in RE3.
But you were probably upset by a few things you didn't say.
Yes.
Clock Tower is the number one thing that I hear people refer to being gone.
I've been seeing that.
How spoilerific can I get with RE3? Can I say what can't I say? What do you want? No.
I don't give a fuck about RE3 remake. I don't want anyone talking about 7 remake.
Okay. How about this chat, YouTube, whoever's listening, give Side 30 seconds if you're worried about Resident Evil 3 spoilers, okay? And go.
One thing I will say really pissed me off. I felt bad that I was scared of Hunters more than I was scared of fucking Nemesis.
Chat, that doesn't sound like spoilers at all.
Okay.
There's
Hunters
in the first Resident Evil. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's Lickers. My bad.
Yeah, there were Lickers in here too.
Yeah,
but I was a little bit more shook from Hunters. The way they introduced Hunters, the nod they gave, that really well done. But it was a shame that I was a little more shook from that than I was just fucking Nemesis.
Yeah, that wasn't even a spoiler. That's not even a spoiler.
Were you particularly shook by Nemesis in the original Resident Evil 3? Because, for me, in the original Resident Evil 3, Nemesis is kind of silly. He's kind of goofy. He's just... He's not bad.
Dude, you ever played the arcade Resident Evil 3? The rail shooter Resident Evil 3?
I haven't.
Nemesis is scary in that, all right?
It's for the comparison, for Mr. X, the sound design for it was so well done. You could hear those big thuds. Doom, 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 doom. Oh, fuck, I need to get out of here. Nemesis, it's more of, oh, fuck, he kind of has superpowers. I kind of expect him, okay. I know I can take him down. Let me see what kind of ammo I got. I got a grenade. Okay. I'm going to take him down and get this, new part for my weapon.
Right, because it's an action game.
Yeah, it wasn't really...
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's because it's more action than horror, like RE2.
I feel like it's kind of a. I feel like 3 remake is kind of a hybrid of 5 and 6. 5 being.
Ooh, you threw a real dark wrench when you said 6 in there.
Yeah, and see,
1/3 of 6 was good, and I'll let you guess which third it was.
1/3.
One Leon. I don't count Ada.
No. You're really gonna say Leon's was good? I was gonna
say it's better than the other 2.
Okay, but even still, it's kind of the hybrid between that and 5. 5 did have attempted horror, but it was like more action packed. 6 was just straight up Hollywood action movie.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it felt like, but you know, with a little bit of polish.
5, I think, was the perfect Resident Evil action game. I think it's the first. I think that was 4. 4
4 got it right. 4 got it right in my opinion.
I think 4 was
yeah. I agree with you.
But I mean, like, even RE4 isn't as much action as RE5. I think the formula for RE4 is a more enjoyable game, but I think if they're going for, like, just an action-oriented Resident Evil, I think 5 is the... Dude, there are still things in Resident Evil 4 that fucking, scared me, jumped at me, made me panic. Dude, even the fact that I had to be ready to press buttons in cutscenes in 4 scared the shit out of me. I'm running away from the boulder, and I'm just like, oh, wow, this cutscene's... Oh, shit!
I think 4 was the first QTE game I played.
I think it was.
That definitely got me as well.
God of
for
War,
a lot of us.
Was God of War out before?
I think God of War was a couple of years later. God of War was like pretty late PS2.
Yeah.
All right. So I think at the end of the day, Resident Evil 2 was phenomenal. Resident Evil 2 remake, phenomenal. What a surprise! Big surprise there. Resident Evil 3. Not as good as Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 3 remake, not as good as Resident Evil 2 remake. Why is everyone surprised?
Now we gotta wait for Code Veronica remake.
Really? Is that gonna happen?
No, probably not.
That's not gonna happen. Resident Evil 4 remake.
It's what the fans wish for, and some of them are leaning towards Resident Evil 4. I say why of Resident Evil 4 though. Like why?
Yeah, I just think you need to just remaster it again. You don't need to remake it. You could just upscale the fuck out of it. You probably need to remake it in order to upscale it, but it doesn't need like any formula. Like it literally needs no formulaic change. That's literally new coat of paint and ship it, in my opinion.
Code Veronica, I will agree on a remake. I will agree on that.
Has there not been a Resident Evil 4 remaster?
Probably. I think there has. Or if not, there's mods. If not, there's mods that make it look better. One of the two.
I think it is fair to say that Resident Evil 4 does still hold up like pretty well though.
Yeah. Like literally all you could possibly do to 4, in my opinion, is new coat of paint. Literally do nothing else.
That's it. That's it. That's all it needs.
Yeah. And maybe give the girl less voice lines. Because I'm busy here. I'm busy. I'm trying to work. I
love it though. It makes it so goofy. I love it. It makes it so silly.
Listen, I'm busy. Get in the trash can. I'm busy. Okay. Please just get in the trash can. That's all I'm asking you.
Okay. Speaking of like disconnects between Metacritic and user score, this is actually like pretty.
I thought you were going to tell me my stream disconnected when you said that.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, not a literal disconnect, a discrepancy, if you will. Okay, so critical rating for Resident Evil 3, Metascore 80. Most of the critics were saying like, this is phenomenal, this looks beautiful, it plays great. Yeah, it's a little bit short. But generally critics don't have to... Okay, I'm going to be really cynical here. Critics don't pay for their games a lot of the time, at least at professional outlets. And as a result, how much time you're getting out of $60 is not at the forefront of your mind. As someone that does like a little bit of freelance journalism, I'm also like pretty sympathetic with the idea of, oh, thank fuck, it's only 5 hours. Oh, thank you, God. I don't have to, pull 3 days of all-nighters to be able to finish this fucking game and review it. 10 out of 10. Hell yeah. That's definitely a thing as well. User score 6.2. It's generally people saying, pretty much the same thing. They're saying the same thing. Like, it looks great. It plays great. It's too short. 0 out of 10. I love this game. It reminds me so much of my childhood. Only 4 to 5 hours. 0 out of 10. I just read that verbatim. It's an actual review. Okay, here's my favorite one. This is a 10 out of 10 user score from user Axe Brosler. Fuck the toxic fans. The original game have the same period of time. It no have tower clock. But they have another new things. Raccoon Park have mixers parts, like the subway, building zones, sewers, and more. The game don't deserve this. 10 out of 10. I don't know what they think of the game.
That review got a 0 out of 10.
That is a stand right there. That is a RE fucking stand. Let's go, boy.
I don't know what they think of the game, but that's a 10 out of 10. So go and buy it. 10 out of 10.
Let's go. Yeah, go get it.
Okay.
These are so good.
I think I'm ready to move on from RE3 Remake. Because, see, now, unfortunately, you've led me down one of my favorite rabbit holes. Reading user comments. Because sometimes... So, we've talked about it on State of the Realm for Final Fantasy XIV. But one of my favorite things to do is when they do live letter threads, ask only about these topics. And then reading the questions that people have not being about those topics. What you're experiencing is I get the same enjoyment out of these similar scenarios.
Here, okay. Give me one more. Just one more.
One more, and then we're moving on.
This is from Dragon Knight 4. Jill was censored. They clearly see the customer as the enemy. Don't support this garbage. 0 out of 10.
You know, I had seen a retweet about RE3 Remake, and it was Jill crawling through a small corridor of some kind, and it was a shot from behind, and it was a complaint about her being censored because it wasn't the skirt. And it's literally just her ass.
Listen, Yoko Taro would never do this to us, all right? This is bullshit, all right? Games devs need to be more horny. Yoko Taro would never do us like this.
Bro, I would never downrate a game for just showing me less ass. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the internet does, so there you go.
I'm well aware of that.
Am I back in the good books with you near simps now? Did I do good? Are we cool?
You almost had it until the very end.
Almost? I almost had it until I called them simps.
You almost had them.
Shit.
Came real close. Close.
No, I'll get it next time.
Yeah. Okay, with that, we're going to move on to our next topic. Next week is going to be one of the most looked at and one of the most influential weeks in gaming that we'll have had in a long time, and we'll probably have until who knows when the second part of it comes out. Now, we are talking about 7 Remake, and we are going to talk about a topic that talks about its early release, but I want to say this now. We're not talking spoilers. If you talk about spoilers in the live chat, you will be promptly banned without appeal. And even if you make a joke spoiler like, Link's Cloud has a sword, I'm taking no fucking chances. You done. All right? You done. And my mods are aware of that. So, no
for all
fucking
we know,
around.
For all we know, there are no swords whatsoever, all right?
What?
Wait.
I'm just saying, there's no spoilers. There may or may not be swords. For all we know, Cloud may not have a fucking sword. We don't know. No spoilers.
You mean to tell me there's not a fucking sword in 7
There
Remake?
might be swords.
I'm going to ban both of you. Okay. So next week, on April 10th, is the official release date of Final Fantasy VII Remake. A remake that has been long requested and was made a known reality back in, I believe, 2015 at E3 when it was initially announced. It has been almost 5 years since that day, and we will have it in our hands shortly. Now, we're going to touch on a couple of topics from before, but we need to hit the biggest button topic first. I said its release date is April 10th.
Mm-hmm.
It is already out.
Yeah,
in some regions of the world, which is why we have to tread very carefully about this topic. Because some people don't give a shit. All right? And there's information from interviews that people may have missed and may not know. There's trailers people may have skipped. And there's people who, believe it or not, didn't play the original and don't know all the things that happen that we want to respect. Fair?
Fair.
It being
Absolutely.
out in some regions of the world 10 days early yeah, you're fine, Sly. Has never been a harder thing to deal with for me.
Yeah, this is a toughie. So it was released in Australia early, 10 days early. Do we want to dive into this controversy?
So I mean, we kind of have to, because it hit Australia 10 days early. It's hit Europe now. It's straight up available physically in stores in a lot of places in Europe. Same with Australia and Japan and the United States. Some people will probably still get it early in the United States as well. Some people are going to get it late. Amazon, a lot of people are expecting to receive it late. But ultimately, it's not out yet, but it's out. And that has brought upon a content creation
a nightmare, an absolute nightmare, because this is not like pre-release. This isn't like review codes that people are like breaking NDA on or anything like this. It has been physically released in store, retail in Australia. It was several days ago, and naturally a lot of Australians bought it and they came home and they streamed it. And apparently, at the time, there was nothing in Square Enix's terms of service explicitly against this. They were making tweets saying, like, please don't spoil it, stuff like that. But a lot of Australian streamers were streaming the remake from, Tuesday?
April 1st,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Wednesday. And getting DMCA'd. And basically, what happened was Square Enix went and updated their terms and conditions to include a clause about not streaming, not releasing like any kind of content on the game, and imposing DMCAs up until April 10th. But it was a clause that they introduced after people had already started streaming it. So a bunch of people got temporary bans on Twitch as a result of this DMCA, and it was just a huge fucking shit show over it. I mean, Mike, your position is like, this is absolutely like on the content creators for, being jabronis and not erring on the side of caution and waiting for like the full international release, right?
Not in those words, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And like the other side of it is like, again, this isn't people breaking NDA. This is the game being fucking released. Like if you can buy it in a store, if you can go down to EB Games. And this was the really kind of rough thing as well, as like a lot of Australian content creators, they couldn't get it digitally early. They actually had to like go down to EB Games and get it. And they were like, why are you making me like leave my house, leave quarantine to go and pick up this game?
They didn't have to. They could have just
No. They didn't have to. So okay. One Australian streamer in particular that we were talking about a little bit in the pre-show, Cody Hargreaves, Excessive Profanity. I'm sure some of you guys know him. He was one of the streamers that got DMCA'd. He got a 24-hour ban. And his position was basically like, they've released this game here in Australia. This game is released. It might not be released in all regions, but it's released here. And there's nothing explicitly saying I can't stream it. And me as like a full-time content creator, a full-time streamer, if I don't get ahead of the curve, if I don't start streaming it now and getting those eyeballs, getting those clicks, then I'm basically shooting myself in the fucking foot, aren't I? So that's like the other side of it, right? I think. And I think that's pretty compelling. I think that like, yeah, there's definitely something to be said of, oh, you don't want to spoil people or whatever, but like no one's forced to watch the content, no one's like compelled to get in there and watch it. And if they do, like, they can't be angry that things get spoiled. It's just like, a professional content creator trying to get, a head start that's been offered to them, with no explicit, like, no explicit cause from Square Enix saying they can't do it until they've already started doing it. That's kind of rough, isn't it? Don't you think?
I'm gonna blow people's minds here with this logic here.
Go ahead. All right.
Your owning the game doesn't give you any rights to anything any day. Nowadays,
absolutely,
owning anything gives you no right to any. Like all industries, if you've signed away your rights to everything at this point.
We learned that. We learned that lesson 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's a license, not a right. Yeah. Essentially, everything you buy nowadays is a license and not a right, which means that the people in charge of the license can do whatever they want and will be in the right whether or not people agree with it.
Right. But this isn't a question of litigation. This is a question of like industry ethics, right? Is that, they might be able to do whatever the fuck they want, but sometimes that kind of sucks.
It sucks specifically for the people who wanted to take advantage of the situation in a way that makes sense for their industry, but is not on a level playing field with the rest of the world. And they honestly, I can tell you right now, Square Enix doesn't care about that. They're not considering who gets to stream it on what day. They're literally like, it comes out this day, that is when it's allowed. That's the end. That's the end of the logic there. It's like the official date. Like, yes, we understand there's a national crisis. People have to get it early. Like if they don't ship it out early, people won't get it at all. Stores have to stock it out. There's all sorts of situations, but they're like, but it still is April 10th release date. Worldwide is this release date.
It wasn't. Again, that's kind of the problem. But Square Enix released it early.
They allowed their shipping retailers to ship it early because if they didn't, they wouldn't be getting it by the 10th. Is essentially the reason. They could have just let them ship it, and then nobody would have had it on the 10th.
Right.
Okay.
But so please.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like the ball has been dropped here by someone at Square Enix because if you are going to allow that to happen and not update your terms of service to reflect the 10th as like this line in the sand for content creation for sharing any of it, then like I feel like someone's dropped the ball there. I feel like content creators need to take responsibility for their content. You try to take advantage of something, it doesn't work. Like you just got to take your L and sit down and shut up. But I feel like that doesn't exclude Square Enix from maybe like having a little bit of oversight here.
I think the oversight was definitely not including in the terms of service because if you're going to authorize your shippers to ship it, your stores to sell it, then that needs to be there. I agree. But it's also completely understandable that they would be like, oh, fuck, and then do it later.
No doubt. Like, it's not like shitty or underhanded or like disgusting that they've done that. It's just it just sucks. It's just a bad situation.
I don't think they were ready for this situation to hit Final Fantasy VII. I think that's the big thing.
They should have been.
I don't think they were even remotely prepared. I mean, most of the world wasn't ready for what's been happening. But in this particular case, I mean, we've even seen their CEO's report of them having to move to, remote working. Like they need to be able to work from home so they can have a proper workflow.
Okay.
We've seen Final Fantasy XIV, a game we talked about a lot. They put out an official announcement saying that because of the changed conditions, we should expect patch cycles to be different. I think that it's everything compounded in such a short time. And we talked a little bit about Culture Day. I don't think the culture was really prepared for a work from home culture or any of this. Yes. I think they were juggling so many things that they weren't even thinking about who's going to get to stream it until it became a problem.
I think. Go ahead, Si, please.
From there, like you speak of the content creator perspective. There are two sides of that. Yes,
there's also the regular consumer perspective,
and that's what I'm going to get to.
Yeah,
there's the content creator who wants, like you said, wants to get ahead, wants to get like eyeballs because that's important in our industry. We need to the sooner we get this out, the sooner we get content out, the more people will watch, right? And then there's being fair to the consumers as a content creator, being fair to consumers who have to fucking wait on this and like deliveries. We don't know the timing of deliveries everywhere else. Even so, we have a hard set date. Hell, fucking Amazon doesn't even know when they're going to fucking deliver some things nowadays. So, like, there's being fair to, the other consumers who, we don't know. I mean, like there's a hard set release date, and you know, me being me, I would follow that hard set release date or any embargoes given to me.
Keep in mind, okay, to be clear though, an embargo is something you sign. Nobody signed it.
That's not what we're
something
talking
definitely
about.
different. That's something definitely different. Like if you have an arrangement between you and a developer that says, "Hey, you can do so and so on this date." Okay, you give me that date. I'm following that number. That is the earliest I'm gonna fucking do it. It's fine.
No one's broken embargoes or NDAs here. We just have to be clear about that.
Like, yeah, that's fine. And then there's like, oh, well, I have it. Why not? There's a little bit of right and wrong. Like, I kind of feel like there is a gray area, but at the same time, there's common sense.
Well, there absolutely is, because like he said, there wasn't officially something in the terms of service.
Yeah.
Which is why they just got a 24-hour DMCA and not something like
not something more harsh.
Yeah, because they hadn't by pressing yes, they hadn't actually agreed to not do that, like the terms of service.
I think Twitch also made a bit of a faux pas here as well, because the updated conditions said a DMCA upon like request, right? And there were no requests. People were just having the plug pulled on them by Twitch, which kind of sucks. No one was getting an email.
I bet you there were requests.
No, well, apparently in the instance that we're talking about with excessive profanity, like he was adamant that there was no DM, there was no email, there was no request.
No, a company literally just has to tell Twitch, done. Yeah. That's all that needs to happen.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, that's how it's always.
And he kind of got the shits because like the wording was, you will be requested to, you know, take the content down. And there was none of that.
No.
And obviously, you know, that's just like legalese and all that. I think Mike kind of put his finger on it. We were talking earlier in the show that March 20th, the release of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing's New Hope in Japan, no school's been shut down.
New Hope, it's not Star Wars.
I'm gonna keep calling it New Hope. I don't give a shit. It's fine. I see NH and I read New Hope. Right, that's just where I'm at. Okay, that's just me living my truth. Okay,
that's your new horizon.
That's my new horizon is Animal Crossing New Hope. Yeah, so there had been no school shutdowns, no like mandatory shutdowns of any non-essential businesses or anything like that. And it's only really been in like the last week that Shinzo Abe and the governor of Tokyo, I can't remember their name, have been like putting out statements, you know, asking people to stay at home, suggesting people work from home. It seems like Japan as a culture was not taking this shit seriously until like literally the last couple of days. So like, you know, balls being dropped on like DMCA requests and like a little bit of, you know, a little bit of like fumbling there has got to be expected in pretty much every industry at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, I guess it's just where we're at.
Yeah, it's a tough topic. I am a firm street date. Whatever is officially still labeled as street date. If they had said our new street date is April 1st, which ever I would have taken as a joke. To be honest.
Who's street? Who's street? That's such
Their
like
a...
street. Yeah,
if there's still a worldwide release that has that's scheduled, if I Google it right now,
it's not worldwide. Again, that's the thing.
All right,
that's so like America-centric to be like,
well, and
it's not released until it's released here.
No,
it was released in Australia.
I think realistically, street date's probably Japan nowadays.
Okay, there's we can say
I'll give you an example.
We're in the same industry. We're in the same industry. We can say this. There's a bit of proactiveness we can take. We can do a little bit of research. We could reach out to someone at Square Enix and say, like, we're in this industry. We know, like, hey, I just want to let you know, I have my game. Am I good or am I not good? That's it.
All right.
Well, you know how many requests they would probably get like that? Yeah. Oh my god, they would not have the manpower to do. Well, it might prompt like a social media post at best, but
yeah, and that's all it would take, and problem would be solved.
Yeah, right, but that didn't happen.
Not good. That didn't happen.
There must have been out of the thousands of content creators like doing stuff on Final Fantasy VII in Australia, there must have been someone that emailed Square Enix and was like, "Hey, we good?"
And then they went, "No," and then they were like,
But there wasn't any response for like several hours. It kind of sucks. Just sucks.
It sucks, but I've been in this industry long enough to know when you should be erring on the side of caution.
Right.
There's a degree to which you need to err on the side of caution. If you know lots of parts of the world don't have it, and the only reason you have it is because of a natural disaster that's occurring worldwide, you know, there has to be some consideration that goes into that from both a consumer who may want to talk about it with people and someone who's creating content for it. But I 100% agree with the point that it wasn't in the terms of service, and that is a mistake. And I think that will never happen again. Because they're usually, with stuff like music and stuff, like they're usually really, really good with it. Like adding like license awareness and stuff like that and letting you know it's loud. But this is way more than that,
Right.
to be honest. So there were other options they could have taken too. They could have just released. They could have just said digitally it will be available like tomorrow. Like we're just going to do it. But then there might have been physical sellers that still weren't going to be able to make it even for the original. Like this was always going to be a disaster. This is always going to be a disaster. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't cause like way more a mess than it did. Like I feel like I've kind of been like ragging on Square Enix's response here a little bit, and I don't want to give the wrong impression there. Like they got on top of it within several hours and like put a lid on it, and that's like amid everything that's going on here. And that was really impressive. Like it sucked for like a handful of Australian content creators that like, you know, tried their luck and, you know, got slapped on the wrist. I'm like, big fucking deal, you know? So good job for keeping the cat in the bag and not ending up with literally everyone in the world getting spoiled.
Because this is uncharted territory for pretty much everyone, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
At least in this generation it is. There's not been a major global pandemic in the digital age like this. True. We've had like close calls with some things, but we haven't had something that's shut down large portions of your country and you know, shipping retailers that can't meet demands. It's like we haven't
whole ass infrastructures.
Infrastructures, yes, that straight up are not designed to function, or do not have the manpower, do not have the capacity to function on this level.
It's good that we're like getting these kind of systems in place and working out like a modus operandi for people in the industry for this kind of shit now, because you know, in 2 years we've got the SMT 30-year anniversary, and like that's just going to shut down the whole world as well, apparently, isn't it, Sly?
It is. I believe.
You believe? When's the alternate timeline, Sly? When does that? When do we branch off into the Persona timeline of real life?
Fuck, it's already happened.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I think we are on the separate timeline.
No.
We're in the bad timeline.
January 1st, 2020 was the.
According to current events, we are on the mainline timeline. So, like, there probably is going to be nuclear war and shit soon. Sorry.
Well, January 1st we'll consider the branching point of the timeline. This is where we're the mainstream and the branching point went off somewhere. That's it. We took the time stone from the Sorceress Supreme.
Some idiot in Australia like started a barbecue during a fire ban out in the bush, and like the timeline just shattered.
Yeah, from that point on, it.
Yeah.
Let's just say this would most accurately describe 2020 right now, in that insightful panic and unbalance.
Were you hitting bongos? What the fuck were you
No,
doing?
this is bongos.
Yeah.
What was this?
This is imbalance. Who has bongos around their neck like this?
I mean, it looked like you were just going to go ham on some fucking bongos. I don't know.
Those are the balancing bongos.
No, these are the danger bongos. The danger bongos go all the way up here.
Those are the danger bongos.
They go all the way up. The danger bongos.
They're very big.
They're like shoulder pads, really.
Yeah.
You just put a bongo on each shoulder and you just do this.
Well, you got to be able to hear them from like a long way away.
Yeah, they have a megaphone.
You got to be able to hear them from a room away so you get back to the keyboard.
Yeah.
There you go. Proper danger bongos. SE.6. There you go. Oh, man. All right. Well, because we don't want to indulge any of the information or even the opinions or any little thing you might have heard, Ethys.
Not yet.
I will pose you with a different question before we wrap up.
Please.
We said earlier that RE2 was the definition of a proper remake. It defined what a remake should realistically be.
Mm-hmm.
We have another one to look forward to next week after only so well received one this last week.
Yeah, we're redefining it for sure.
What is the expectation? What would make this a winning experience for you?
Hypothetically,
what would 7 Remake need to do for you, with all you know about it already, without having played it? What would define a winning situation for you?
I think the only way for the 7 Remake to kind of like meet and exceed our expectations with the hype and the lead up is if it completely like redefines the genre. If it's just a complete game changer. Like at this point, it is not enough for it to be just a good remake. Or like a glow up or anything like that. It needs to completely change everything. That is what we're going to be looking for. And who knows? We'll probably be talking about it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. In all honesty, we probably will have to do a TPG about just literally that. A full-on spoiler cast. Few weeks, Sly. I know I'll be doing 24 hours the day it comes out, so I did it for Kingdom Hearts 3. I might as well do it for 7 Remake, right?
Right.
Might as well.
I accidentally did it for Kingdom Hearts 3. It was an accident. Because I was like 18 hours in, I was like, I think I can finish this soon. And it took another 6 hours. So it was an accident, but I think I'll do this one on purpose. Sly, what would make or break it for you?
It's tough for me to say because like I feel like I don't have the same level of hype as
you don't have as much attachment to 7.
As much attachment to 7 as I do other FFs. So I don't have the same level of hype as other people. So there's a lot of room for, I guess, improvement. I mean, graphically, it already looks amazing. From when I played in the demo, like I'm impressed. I really feel like with the remake they can do no harm unless.
Oh, they sure can.
Yeah,
bold claim, Samuel.
Unless, God, I don't know what the limitation to this would be. Fuck.
Unless anything.
Like it really. Honestly, it seems to me like it would take a fucking mountain for them to fuck this up.
Dude, honestly, you know what they say? People make mountains out of molehills, so... Dude, my social media when Tifa was wearing fucking sports bra under her shirt blew my fucking mind.
That nearly fucked it up. That nearly ruined the whole game.
I was like, I hate all of you. My only response looking at my Twitter was, I literally hate all of you.
Y'all still getting mad at titties or lack thereof? Really?
Hey man, Jill Valentine was censored. If they fucking censored Tifa, oh man.
What's wrong with
man? Why isn't Yoko Taro directing the Final Fantasy VII remake?
Fuck is wrong with y'all? I need fucking help. That's what y'all need. Getting mad over some fucking titties. What's wrong with you?
And Sly loves breasts.
Yeah, listen. This isn't coming from a position of cynicism regarding the titties. All right.
I like how I went for the accurate term, and
He
you
already
went
said
back.
it. Look, he already said it, all right?
Yeah, but I'm pulling it back. Not pulling the titties back. Never mind. Anyway.
No, don't do that. That
How
sounds
you
great.
doing?
That sounds
How you
painful.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I'm actually 7's not on like my top 3 for Final Fantasy games. It's not.
I agree.
I'm 6, 10, and Zodiac Age, actually, the recent IZJS remaster, pushed it to top 3. I actually really didn't like the original Final Fantasy 12. It was near the bottom for me, along with Final Fantasies 2 and 3. That being said, I recently played through a modded version of the original 7 called New Threat, which, while is abominates some of the base concepts of the game in regards to storytelling and certain scenes that were changed. I'm sure some of you who have experience with the game could guess one in particular. It gave me a whole new like appreciation and outlook for what a game that improved on the original could be. Because New Threat in every way, I could never go back to playing Vanilla 7 after playing New Threat. It was just that much of an improvement in experience and content. That took me around 40 hours to do everything from beginning of the game to the end. And my average playthrough of regular Final Fantasy VII is 30 to 35 hours, including all super bosses from beginning to end. So that's my average experience. I'm going to be holding that experience as my bar for both hours played and content total. I'm going to be holding those bars very, very close to me, regardless of what it is. I don't care if it's, just one portion of the original. I'm going to be holding it to a full game bar. But
I think that's reasonable.
My excitement since playing the demo and playing New Threat has risen. It hasn't made me like 7 more than those other games, but it's making me giddy, which I'm glad. Because before I was like, oh, they're finally doing it. I can't believe it. Now I'm like, they're fucking doing it. And so
I agree with that. At first I was like, why 7? Come on. Like, out of all the remakes you could do, why 7? But now I'm like right alongside you. I was like, no, I get it. I'm on board. I'm here for the ride. Let's do it.
And so for me, what will define it, can you convince me that you couldn't have done more in this game? Can you convince me that the scale of the game, just this first chapter of the first disc of the original game, can really be its own game? I'll be holding it to it from an hour standpoint, from a content standpoint, and I hope it succeeds. I hope it succeeds. I don't want it to fail. I really don't. I want to come out of this like, I need part 2 right now, and not because it was too short, but because it was too good. That's how I want to feel by the end of it. If it doesn't do that, it could still be good, but won't have met expectations.
Do we think... I remember they were originally saying they were planning on releasing 1 episode every year. Do we think that you hadn't heard that? I remember hearing that back in like 2016. They were like, we would like to release an episode every year.
I don't remember. That might have been back when it was being worked on by. So originally, the company that makes the .hack games was helping them co-develop. I think they're called Level 5. No, Level 5 is. Isn't that Yokai Watch Level 5?
Yeah, that's Yokai Watch. I know who you're talking about though.
Whoever made.
Yeah, that might have been back in that window.
CyberConnect. There you go.
Yes, there you go.
They were. You know what? And they pulled it from CyberConnect because I guess the product wasn't what they wanted, and we thought that was going to extend it way longer, like the development process. I wonder what lessons they did learn from them, and what about it that was being developed that they didn't think was up to par, that they had to pull it from that idea. And I forgot where I was going with that because I couldn't remember the company, and now that like fucked with my brain. Maybe it could have actually released in a year cycle when it was still under CyberConnect because of the way they were doing it. Because the .hack games were all really short. Like, it's 4 games that all come together as one game, which is probably why they went with the idea.
Yes. Yeah, okay. I get that. Because, all right, on one hand, I'm like, all right, if these parts like 3 or 4 years apart, that is going to kind of dampen the trajectory of this hype train that we're all on, like substantially. But 12 months apart just seems like so utterly unrealistic at this point that I cannot imagine.
Expect. Because now they have the engine done, they have character models done. Obviously, designing the whole area is the biggest thing. Like actually, like developing the area and making sure that everything is voice acted and like there's the portions that they need to work on now are all above like the root, I suppose. They've got the roots, and now they just need to they've got the soil, and now they need to plant all the trees, essentially. So I hope that means 2 to 3 year cycles between games. 3 years I expect is the most, but 2 years is my minimum. I think 3 is the most reasonable. But they just got to prove to me that dude. I'm gonna stay alive as long as it takes to finish this thing. All right. I was playing Ring Fit, and Ring Fit has a rhythm game now, which I actually haven't tried out yet.
Wait, have you been playing Ring Fit to improve your stamina for a Final Fantasy VII binge?
Yeah, dude.
Is that what you're about?
No. I actually said I started playing it so I could survive them releasing all the parts.
You are... you are such a fucking loser, dude. I love you.
I shall become immortal.
You're such a loser.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's some fucking bullshit right there.
You're right. Thank you.
That is some Far Eastern bullshit right there.
And if you're hearing that from this guy, then you know there's something to it.
Yeah.
All right, dude. All right, like you do you, man. It's your life.
Dude, this thing is great. If you haven't actually tried this, segue. This thing is actually fantastic. I love this.
Maybe we'll have a fitness games show at some point.
No, the fuck we won't.
Have you seen 2 of us?
Oh, what? Because then you have to get off your ass to do some research for it, will you, Sly?
No, the fuck we won't. I actually have to do shit.
Dude, I want Sly in the bandana. I want Sly in the fucking head wrap with the headband with the sweats on. I want to.
I want to do that now.
I want to see him braid his beard so it just doesn't get all moist and shit. You know.
Yeah, we can get all do shit. I don't want to do shit. What the fuck?
Oh, come on.
No,
we can all
Sly,
get
if
in, like,
you do a show on fitness games, I'll go to Hooters with you.
Wait, what? What happened?
We lost you there for a second, buddy.
Yeah.
If you do a show about fitness games and we actually work out during the show, I will go to Hooters with you.
Go where?
Hooters!
Oh, that's... Oh. All right. Now he's listening.
Something I refuse to do.
Well... See...
And Sly, you'll be shredded for it.
Yeah, you can eat more wings.
Yeah.
How are you gonna tempt me with exercise to go to fucking get fat? I mean, really, like
because I feel like that's the best motivator.
Bullshit. That's some
you do the
bullshit.
push-ups to eat the cake. You literally put cake in front of your face, and every time you do the push-up, you go.
Shit so we can go get more fat. Like, yeah.
You ever seen the fat chocobo flies with cake? It gets him to do it.
So my cake is a fucking wing.
Wait.
No, your cake is the pleasure of me going to Hooters as much as
you're getting this backwards. You're putting exercise in front of him so that he'll eat wings. You're not putting wings in front of him so that he'll exercise.
It's your semantics.
Okay, all right.
Semantics, okay? The point is, I'm giving him a carrot and a stick, regardless of if the stick is attached to the carrot or the carrot is attached to the stick.
All
Fair?
Right.
Okay.
So when all this is over, if we do that show, Sly, I will let you record the whole thing because no one will otherwise believe I actually went to a Hooters. Think about how much more beer you can drink with those burned calories. And there's a rhythm game. We could just play the rhythm game. You like rhythm games? You play the fucking Persona dancing games. You can play a Ring Fit one.
You know how I did that?
Well, this is how I did it.
I think this is post-show now.
No, it's not. That's just we're teasing the next show. We're teasing the next show. Okay. All right. With that, I think we can finally wrap things up for our first ever Talkin' About Games. I hope everyone enjoyed this. We would like to filter these in when State of the Realm doesn't have anything going on. If it does okay, maybe I would consider doing shows off those weeks. But right now, instead of just canceling shows with everyone stuck in quarantine, this seems to be the better idea. I hope.
Yeah,
except for him calling people simps and Sly talking about titties.
Cannot prove I ever said that.
What the fuck's wrong with titties? I ain't calling people shit. Just say titties. Goddamn.
Goddamn. It's okay, Sly. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last. That's why we love you. Okay, before we wrap things up, quick reminder of our sponsors for the show, SteelSeries. They sponsor State of the Realm, thus they sponsor this. At the beginning of the show, we mentioned 12% discount code. If you're buying anything and everything that's going on right now, save some money. Otherwise, you can also enter a giveaway that we do monthly. We call the winner at the top of the show. So be sure to enter that in the YouTube description if you want your chance to win. We also mentioned our patrons whose names have been scrolling at the top right the entire show. They have been supporting, again, through these times. If you can't be on that list, I'm not even removing people's names from that list right now because taking care of yourself is utmost priority, and I still want you to enjoy the show, even if you can't be on that list. Don't feel any guilt. Don't apologize. Don't do any of that. But if you are on that show, or if you are on that list, or you add your name to that list, it will be up there. We also have our Patrons of Darkness, Khuja Cross on Jenova and Kurenai, who... Didn't you say you were... No, because I misremembered something. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. All right. I was misremembering something that I had a conversation with one of you, but I didn't have that conversation with either of you. Sly's looking at me. This is Khuja Cross from Jenova, and then, of course, we have Kurenai as well, who's right here. There you go. You got the Sly picture.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you to our Patrons of Darkness, all of our patrons, all of you tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Now, with that, and give me a second to navigate my OBS, because everything's now in a different spot because I had to separate it from the State of the Realm one. So thank you, Ethys, for joining us, Sly and I, for this show. As far as I'm considered,
Absolutely.
It was still Sly and me, and then you were the guest. But since it's the first one, I'll you know what? I'll root you.
Hard to say.
Your name's in there, all right? You brought statistics, okay?
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you're rooted. You're not the guest anymore. All right?
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, now that all that responsibility is placed on you forever and always, and that pressure of always performing to an adequate level, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at?
Oh no, how will I keep up with the professional standards of these guys? How am I gonna do that? Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. I am Ethys. You can find me, Ethys Asher, on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. If you Google me, you can probably find some of my writing for various outlets as well, like Fandom, Gamerscape. There's some stuff floating around. So check it out. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for supporting us with your eyeballs. In these difficult times, we're doing our best to create content for you guys and keep you guys company, but it works both ways, and like we really appreciate that you guys are hanging out with us and keeping our spirits up as well. It means a lot, so thank you so much. Sly, what about you? Where can people find you?
Hi. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. Twitter at SlyTheFox, YouTube.com/Velvet Room, Facebook.com/Sly, aka Gray Fox, all that jazz. Just doing a lot of P5R right now. Probably gonna go into a merciless playthrough after my first playthrough, which is next week. Yeah, boy. After this, I will be doing Station WSOI, which is my weekly city pop radio show. Doing
it from Allure this week or no?
No, not from Allure.
Okay.
Like they're only Allure's only open once One Saturday a month.
Okay.
Fridays, pretty much all the other time. But yeah, this will just be me. This will just be Station WSOY from here, my room. Hi. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I'm pretty much up to. Happy, what about you? What are you doing? And where can they find you?
You can find me, Mr. Happy127, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Actually, 2 hours from now, I'm going to be joining my friend Morag, who you may remember I did Count Up Cast with leading up to Final Fantasy 15, doing a podcast that he does where we go over some recent game trailers, and I got to close my eyes if 7 Remakes one is on there. I'll be like, sorry, can't do it. Maybe that'll be my first watch, because I haven't watched the most recent trailer. I saw the thumbnail and I was like, nah, dude, I'm not clicking that. That's not happening. I already seen too much in the thumbnail as far as I'm concerned. Next week's gonna be big. Next week on the MMO side, Final Fantasy 14 has its Relic update. Final Fantasy 7 Remake comes out on April 10th. And then Trials of Mana is later this month on April 24th. So we'll play that as well. And I'll sprinkle in some Animal Crossing and Persona 5 Royal in between. All Sly really got happy. I said P5R and he just started hearing, you never see it coming. That's all he heard.
Nah, the new one. It's the new battle.
Oh, okay. You got the new one in your head. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So thank you all for tuning in. We're going to go into a short post show. If you guys don't mind, I'd actually like both of you to stick around very briefly. After I shut off the camera real quick, just to go over a couple things. And so we'll do a short outro, and then we will see you next week with State of the Realm? Question mark?
Maybe
on Wednesday. Sly? Wednesday, Sly?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wednesday?
What?
Wednesday, what? Sly?
Mike Jones too? What? Who?
Wednesday? We'll talk about the Relic Quest on Wednesday?
What?
I'm going to need you to come in on Wednesday.
Yeah. No.
We may not do a show on anything next week.
We'll see.
In case you haven't picked up on that, there may not be a show at all next week.
We'll talk about it.
All right, yeah, we'll talk about it. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. We're going to do a short post show, and then I'll talk to you too. So we'll do like a minute or two post show, and then I'll hang things up. So thanks everyone.
Right.
We'll see
Thanks
you
everyone. Take
whenever
care.
We see you. Take care.
Cheerio. Bye.